Night. And man who showed some good movement in the back there and has done so all season is the number 6 for the Bulldogs, Josh Reynolds. Morning, Josh. Thanks for coming in and congratulations on a wonderful season. But you're 23 years of age. I think you're a Dragons junior from years ago. It's not as though it's been overnight success. Did you ever sort of doubt that you might not get this shot at the top grade? Yeah, definitely, Sterlo. You know, growing up, you've always got those sort of doubts whether you're going to sort of, crack it into first grade or not. And like I've said before, like growing up, I wasn't really at any of the top players sort of thing. So I definitely have to work hard on my game. But now I'm up there, mate. I'm having the time of my life. As you can see, the boys are loving it in the shed too. And rightly so. But with recognition, and you are recognised now. Comes pressure, comes expectations. I think, your lifestyle changes as well. Have you had any struggles in adapting to that at all? To tell you the truth, I really haven't. I'm loving every bit of it. Like sort of the footy's going great, and then on the outside it's great too. Like you get to obviously meeting a lot of new people and things like that. And mate, I'm just, like I said, having the time of my life, and hopefully I can keep going. What about you? Play the hardest position on the field, or one of the hardest, in the half, steering them around. Are you starting to really understand how to play in that position now? Yeah, mate. When you used to come down at the start of this year, I sort of felt, I was doing everything so fast, at a fast pace, but I'm sort of just trying to slow everything down now, and it's definitely helped me a lot. What about the game itself? The thing that I love watching is you've got an exuberance, you attack the game, you've got so much energy. What's your favourite part? I used to love running out. I don't know, it was just something about coming out of the tunnel with your mates. What about you? What do you like about, Sundays or Saturdays whenever you play? Yeah, that's definitely a big thing for me as well, walking out into that. We're getting big crowds too at ANZ. The Dogs fans are great, and I think it's the team we got, We get back to training on Monday or Tuesday, and it's such a great buzz around the team, and just to keep playing week in week out with these boys, it's a great feeling. Well, Freddie spoke about running out. What about running out at Newcastle last night? 30,000 people. How was that? Yeah, mate. Like I said before, that it was unbelievable. That ground's awesome. It's sort of like a dome sort of thing, and yeah, we definitely copped a couple of boos, but mate, it was definitely a great feeling. They would have appreciated the style of play for sure last night. They love rugby league up there. And great support. It was a great game to watch. I'd especially like to thank you for shaving down coming in this morning, just to, in honour of being on the show. And speaking of last night's game, let's have a look at Saturday night footy.
The Bulldogs got off to a great start against the Knights. Sam Perrett's boot was on song.
Perrett kicks back towards the post. Plenty of people coming through for the Dogs, and they'll claim the first try. 2 plays left.
Ben Barber's boot was equally impressive. Canterbury out to a 12-0 lead after 5 minutes.
Into the in goal, sitting up in the in goal.
Barber then set up Jonathan Wright, and the Dogs led 18-0.
Now Barber, away from Gagai. Over he goes to Jonathan Wright.
5'8" Josh Reynolds didn't need any help to extend their lead.
Reynolds just went long enough to beat everybody. Tackle 5 short. Just
before half-time, the Knights fired up. Achille Uate finally putting them on the board.
To Gagai. Now Uate gets to the grass.
He was the first to cross after the break too. Jared Mullen timing his kick perfectly.
Uate who gets there. Reaching out and scoring.
The Bulldogs were desperate in defence and held off a persistent Newcastle attack.
Over to Nagama with Barber to beat, and Ben Barber raises the touchy's flag.
Barber almost pulled off his trademark move, but the ref's whistle ruined that.
Tahu comes to Barber. He was ankle tapped and lost the ball.
The Dogs wrapping up a 26-10 win with a penalty right on full time.
The final save.
As I mentioned, 10 straight now for the Bulldogs, destined for that minor premiership. Doubles for both Jonathan Wright and Achille Uate. Wonderful performance from the Bulldogs. They led 24 points to nil after 17 minutes, and really for Newcastle it was pretty much all over. Although they made a spirited comeback, and in anything, Josh, whilst that scoreline was lopsided early on, probably your defence between the 55th and 65th minute mark was really the most impressive 10 minutes of the night, I thought. Yeah, well, I think it was, I think they had all up maybe 7 or 8 dropouts in the night, and it was sort of a weird feeling when we come to the shed, Sterlo. Like, we won the game, obviously, and everyone was happy, but we sort of didn't go on with it sort of thing, and
it was sort of, we come in and everyone was happy, but like we sort of felt, you know, obviously our defence was good, but you know, our attack didn't really come in that second half.
Keeping it in check.
Yeah, you know, but I think that's a good thing about our side. You know, I think we always know we can improve.
What about playing under Des? You've had a few coaches in the top grade, but the attention to detail of Des, what's he like to play under?
Yeah, mate, Des has been awesome for the club this year. You know, he, like you said, the attention to detail. Every week we know exactly what to do with every team, you know, so we sort of try and find their weakness, like we said before, and try and attack it, and I think we've been doing that pretty good.
I found it interesting before the games you had Desi in your sheds, and he had you all around him, he was eyeballing you, and then in the other shed it went to Wayne and everyone was sitting down, was all relaxed and calm. And what was he saying before the game? Was it like... So I don't really think I've seen him like that. Is he normally a bit calmer before games?
Mate, he is calm in a way, but he does know how to fire us up. You know, like we sort of, yeah, like you said, we get in a huddle, and he just tells us, you know, like make sure we nail the little things, and that's our process. And you know, I think, and that's the best thing so far. Everyone's not trying to, you know, do too much. We're all just doing our little part, and it's all going good. Okay,
we're talking about coaches before the game. Let's hear what both of these very successful coaches had to say after the match.
You know, at the moment, we're sitting in the top 4, but we're the most penalised side in the competition. I don't think we're playing that ill-disciplined football to have that against us. So I've alerted Bill to it, but obviously, you know, I had to take a trip out there. So I thought both referees tonight were very poor, very poor. And so we need to help them, and then we need to do something about the standard of refereeing.
The referees. I've got more to worry about than the referees. That's his team's going so good. That's all he's got to worry about. It's easy. The referee attack tonight was to stop you talking about his team, because he knows they read the papers too.
And I think both of these coaches are experts in knowing how to manage the media and the speculation and the scrutiny on their particular sides at any given moment, depending on how they're travelling in the competition. But in the press this morning, a fair bit made of some banter or conversation between the two referees at a stage of the match last night. And again, here's what Des Hasler had to say about that.
We had the rabbits working on the referees, and one thing I couldn't understand was toward the back end of the first half, the referees are talking between themselves saying, this game is going to change, this game is going to change, this game is going to change. And the next time, we get a run of penalties, 4 penalties against us.
Yeah, look, I don't know if 2 and 2 is being added together and 4 is the right answer, or whether it's coming up. I don't know what the referees mean by that. Have you got a thought?
Well, there's an issue if the referees are saying that, no doubt. That is, when my couple of years of coaching, they used to put tip sheets out to players. That's also a form of going in with an idea in your head what's going to happen, which is with a preconceived idea. That is wrong. I think also, but you know, Desi is taking some pressure off his side, and doesn't want anyone to talk about his side, because we ain't going to fix him by hammering him in the media. But to say that is wrong. Yeah, it's definitely wrong.
But Freddie, it's, you know, I'm not sure if you can make the direct correlation that they say that this game's going to change, that it means that they are preconceived, or they just believe that Newcastle are getting momentum or something like that.
Their job as referees is just to be totally blank the whole time and just to be judging what they see in front of them. Okay. If you're thinking the game's going to change, you've got a preconceived idea of what's going to happen, and then that happens. So Desi has got a definite a reason to be upset about that. But what I actually saw, the penalties were actually penalties. But yeah, it is. There's no doubt, and it's like tip sheets. Get out of it, have a blank head, and do your best.
Okay. Well, it was a poor night for Newcastle because it was such an important game, and really the first 25, 30 minutes and brought them undone. Great victory for the Bulldogs. And I suppose, just before we get off this game, I thought the side might have struggled with Cassiano and Keating both hurt. You know, I thought, well, that's got to have an effect. With no Cassiano, it's just everybody else is playing more minutes and doing a great job. Like young Chapau comes in, Graham plays more minutes, Stagg plays more minutes. And Joel Romello, he's the least traditional halfback I've ever seen, but it works. Like, I think
he's the best.
I like him.
He only got into first or second receiver to kick the football, or maybe once or twice. So there's been no real change, it would appear.
Yeah, so like you said, I've got to give a massive rap to Dale Finnegan. You know, he comes off, mate, he pulls off some massive
He's a
shots.
good player,
you know, he's definitely given us plenty of impact. And like you said, the boys are just playing extra minutes. But I think guys like Booper, like James Graham, he thrives on that. You know, he's coming out, he thinks he's a bit of a halfback and things. So, but yeah, no, and like with Joel, mate, he's awesome to play with because he just brings that much energy to the team, and it definitely lifts us.
Well, he's a left footer.
I love his build.
I can't believe
I just love his build.
He's as tall as he is wide, Joel Reynolds. But,
Unbelievable nuggets.
as I say, look with Chris Keating and, of course, Trent Hodkinson sideline, you thought, well, that's got to have an impact. But it just continued on last night, and great work from the Bulldogs, 10 straight. That's something in this kind of competition. We'll come back in a moment.